Today we've all learned and heard about the changes that the Department of Defense, the Department of the Army will be taking and implementing. We spoke today by Zoom with Secretary McCarthy. It was our first time meeting and speaking with him, and it was much appreciated. I said this was the last piece of the puzzle that we needed to accomplish. Vanessa's memory and what happened to Vanessa has created such an incredible change in this community, in the military community, and in our country at large. We have so many people who come out and speak. Their voices are heard now. Before it was no one was believed. You heard the stats today by the report that came out, a couple hundred pages, and it talked about how many victims never reported, or the ones that were reported, how many were investigated. And I gotta say, it's so nice, it's refreshing to hear the truth. The truth was sad, it was upsetting, but it was refreshing. And I think we all needed this. We all wanted to know the truth. It's time that our country moves together, mobilizes together. Like I said, I'm not in the military, but I felt like this was a very important cause. I support our troops, I support our military, I support our veterans. Everyone should, because we're here because of them. And we can all contribute to this cause. We all can be part of this. We had the Me Too movement for women and victims out there of sexual harassment, sexual assault. This is considered the Me Too movement for the military. And I'm honored and I'm proud to be behind it. And I think we're moving forward together. And everybody is watching. Someone tells me it's trending. I don't even know what that means, but I think it's funny. It's trending. This is trending. What does that mean? That means that everybody's listening. Everybody's watching. Everybody cares. And that's important. Vanessa's death will not be in vain. It will live with us forever. And we're all going to be part of making that change, making that difference. Not just in the community locally, but in our country and the system at large. I just ask everybody to do me one favor, because we're not finished our mission. I ask everybody to please stand behind the Vanessa Guillén Act. Please stand behind supporting that legislation, because without that legislation, we're just going to keep on having statistics. We're just keep on having numbers. We're just going to keep on having victims and deaths. And we can't afford that. We cannot lose another soldier. Not again. It's not fair. We cannot afford to lose another Vanessa. And the only way to fix that is through legislation. I said awareness is very important, but awareness doesn't fix it. Legislation fixes it. And we need our Congress to step up and vote on that bill and pass that bill, so that way our soldiers can sleep at night and not be in fear, not be afraid of retaliation, not be afraid that they are going to be discharged because they said something or said the wrong thing. So I'm going to give this speaker to this. Who are we going to do? Myra? I'm going to give the microphone to Myra Guillén, Vanessa's older sister, and she's going to say a few words about how we felt today and what we experienced today with these reports and these results.
Hi, I want to thank everyone for coming today, and of course I want to prioritize Natalie for being our legal help through the whole run, and also Chief of Police Art Acevedo for always supporting us emotionally and in whatever ways he's able to, and also Mr. Tillman for opening his doors for us to be able to be here today and to be able to accomplish this press conference. It is going to be a long 8 months, and we keep going as hard as it gets. There's nothing that we wouldn't want to go back, and none of this have to have happened, but we're here today, and Vanessa has made a great impact. As long as we have, we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep asking for the legislation to be passed in order to be able to help all these military members that need our help. We don't need this to happen again, and we're I guess you could say, satisfied with what the investigation did release today. Um, there was individuals that we asked for them to be removed, and they have been removed. Um, Now it's for us to keep on asking for justice, to find those who are responsible, and keep the investigation going to see who has to be held accountable. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lupe Guillén. I'm Vanessa's youngest sister, and first and off, I want to thank Natalie. It has been a long journey. I want to thank Mr. Tillman because it's a great support, and especially Mr. Acevedo because he has been with us through this long process. And as many as y'all know, I believe now on December 22nd is going to be 8 months. And you just hear 8 months, you just hear a long process. And it saddens me that, as Natalie mentioned, that we talked to the Secretary of the Army, Mr. McCarthy, via Zoom, but it really saddens me because it took around 7 months and a half for him to talk to us, and I do not think it was his call. I believe he needed to talk to us before this press conference since the findings of the independent panel. But I do want to mention about what Mr. Jack White said in the independent panel in the Pentagon about the sexual violence being one of the highest in Fort Hood. And I heard so many numbers that sometimes I really got confused. I heard many numbers everywhere, but what actually stuck out to me was that they investigated more than 500 female soldiers, and I believe 100 of them are actually being sexually harassed, and yet they're not reporting it, just like Vanessa, due to retaliation, due to harassment, due to them being afraid and being removed, and then their military career goes down, and then it comes out to mine, and they say Vanessa Guillén. I do remember and I do recall that CID said that there was no sexual harassment found in my sister's case, and yet here we go again today. Why she didn't report it? Because of retaliation, and she was afraid of that. And I always hear this saying, protect our woman. We cannot protect our woman without respecting our woman. And I'm not only saying this as a victim of this crime, I'm saying this as a woman, as someone who wanted to sign up for the military. And if Mr. McCarthy watches this, I hope you actually endorse the I Am Vanessa Guillén bill, because in my mindset, I don't think you have to read it to support it, because you just hear Vanessa Guillén, you hear her murder and her disappearance and her sexual harassment. And I hope Congress, as Natalie mentioned, takes action, because this is needed. This is not about your political views. This is about human issues, just like Vanessa, and we don't want another soldier going missing. We don't want another victim of sexual harassment end up murdering. And for suicide rates to go down. And what else could I say? That we are not going to stop until we pass the I Am Vanessa Guillén Act, because it's necessary. And as mentioned, it happens both to men and women. So please, I ask the public that is watching this, I ask everyone who hears about Vanessa's name or hears about sexual violence in the military or anywhere, to endorse the bill, the act, I mean, because this will keep my sister's legacy alive, and believe me that it will save lives. It will save lives. And one more thing, as there's an article out there going on that it says more than 200 soldiers have gone missing at Fort Hood Army Base since 2016. More than 200 soldiers. And I just want to quick do the math, more than 200 soldiers going missing. That means averagely one soldier goes missing a week, and that soldier ends up dead. And yet the U.S. Army does not ask themselves, why is this happening? Why does someone commit suicide? Why does someone commit murder? Or why does someone do not report sexual violence? And we have the answer. The SHARP program does not work, and that's what we need the I Am Vanessa Guillén Act to pass. Why do soldiers commit suicide? Their mental health, the toxic leadership, And thank God that those leaderships at Fort Hood, 14 of them, were removed. And Effelin deserved it because he ignored us every single time that passed by. Overland. He was so disrespectful throughout this process. And I'm sorry to say this, which I'm not the person to say this, but you deserve it. And I hope for Vanessa's line of command to be investigated and to be held accountable. And for the woman out there in jail, we're going to fight for Vanessa Guillén, for you to stay in jail where you belong. So please, I plead that pass the I Am Vanessa Guillén Act, and for her to be investigated, and for my sister's story to not go in vain, and for other soldiers. So we demand justice for our soldiers, and justice for Vanessa Guillén, and to respect our female soldiers who put their life at risk. Thank you.